Some toys built character, others built scar tissue. Blood, fire, and laughter. That's how playtime began in the 1970s Germany. No helmets, no safety labels, just sharp metal edges and fumes of petrol mixing with childhood dreams. Every toy was a tiny death trap disguised as fun. And the real thrill? Not winning the game, but surviving it. Number 10, the atomic chemistry sets. Nothing said future scientist like being handed a box full of miniature glass vials, acids, and, I kid you not, small samples of uranium dust. Real, glowing, Cold War-flavored uranium. We'd sit at the kitchen table, goggles too big for our faces, pretending to split atoms while Mom shouted from the other room, "Don't stain the tablecloth again." The smell of sulfur and singed fingertips filled the air. As tiny plumes of smoke drifted from our experiments, the air crackled with the scent of curiosity and mild panic. Some kids made blue smoke, others nearly made history. One poor lad even melted his dad's screwdriver trying to invent something. Today's chemistry sets teach eco-friendly slime. Back then, they taught chaos, courage, and how to explain to your parents why the curtains are now brown. Number 9, the metal-tipped dart guns. You haven't truly lived until you've dodged a dart flying across the sitting room at 30 miles an hour. These toy guns fired small, sharp steel-tipped darts with frightening accuracy. You could hear the metallic click, feel the slight recoil, and smell that distinct aroma of rubber and dust. Every household had at least one wall peppered with tiny holes, proof of a childhood well spent. Sometimes you hit the target, sometimes your brother's leg. It was a 50-50 kind of game. Parents would just sigh, apply a plaster, and say, "That'll teach you to duck faster." Nowadays, children get foam Nerf blasters with safety triggers and a 12-page instruction manual. We got puncture wounds and character. Number 8, the miniature steam engine kits. Ah, yes, the toy that brought the Industrial Revolution to your dining table, and occasionally your local fire brigade. These gorgeous brass and copper machines hissed and rattled like something out of a blacksmith's dream. You'd fill the tiny boiler with water, light the spirit lamp, and watch as it roared to life. The smell of oil and singed wick filled the room, the sound, hypnotic rhythm of clanking gears. But one wrong turn of a screw and you had yourself a miniature explosion worthy of a documentary. Many a Christmas ended with scorched tablecloths and proud, slightly trembling smiles. Now kids play with virtual engines on tablets. Back then, we were conducting live experiments in thermodynamics, with casualties. Number 7, the lawn dart sets, or Wurfspieß. The Germans called them Wurfspieß, but we just called them emergency room tickets. Half a kilo of sharpened steel with fins, meant to be thrown skyward, preferably away from your own skull. You'd hurl them high, shielding your eyes from the blinding sun, praying that gravity had a sense of humor. Every neighborhood had a story, a cousin with a bandaged foot, a dad with a dented car roof, or that one terrifying moment when a dart landed too close. The clang as it hit the paving stones, the gasp from your mates, pure adrenaline. Today's equivalent is beanbags and soft foam hoops. Our generation built its reflexes by dodging death from above. Number 6, the electric train with a bite. Every child dreamed of owning a Markland train. Gleaming engines, humming transformers, and that faintly sweet smell of electrical ozone. But those polished metal tracks weren't just for show. They carried live current. Touch both rails at once, and you'd get a shock that made your hair stand up like a 1974 disco star. We treated it as a rite of passage. You weren't a real hobbyist until you'd been electrocuted by your own railway. The hum of the motor, the tiny sparks at the contact points, the smell of warm dust, it was mechanical poetry. Now toy trains run on safe, battery-operated loops. Lovely. But somehow that old tingle made things feel real. Number 5, the cap gun with real sparks. The cap gun was childhood glory, loud, heavy, and built to terrify the cat. Made of solid metal, they fired little paper rolls of explosive caps that smelled of sulfur and rebellion. You'd cock it back, squeeze the trigger, and bang! Your ears rang, smoke filled the air, and you felt like Clint Eastwood in Lederhosen. Of course, after a few rounds, the barrel became hotter than a kettle left on the hob. Everyone had a story: burned fingers, melted pockets, or the time your gun went off while you were showing off. Now toy guns come in bright orange plastic and eco-sound modes. We had blisters and pride. Number 4, the Knallfrock firecrackers. The mighty Bang Frogs. Small paper-wrapped sticks of joy and disaster. They crackled, smoked, and went off with a bang that rattled your eardrums and sent birds fleeing from the trees. You'd light one with a trembling hand, toss it, and wait. That tiny moment of suspense, the fizzing fuse, the puff of sulfur that burned your nostrils. When it went off, you felt like you'd conquered physics itself. Of course, some went off early, and a few brave souls tested their reflexes the hard way. Today's firecrackers sound like polite applause. Ours were miniature wars fought on cobblestones and pride. Number 3, the roller skates of doom. Ah, the sound of metal wheels on pavement. That sharp screech, the jolt through your knees, the sensation of freedom mixed with fear. Strapped over your shoes with leather buckles, they looked harmless until you hit a hill. Then it was just you, gravity, and destiny. Every fall came with the smell of hot asphalt, a taste of dust, and that sting of fresh blood on your knees. Parents didn't rush to help. They just shouted, "You'll learn to stop next time." Today's skates have brakes, padding, helmets, and online tutorials. We had screams, bruises, and bravery. Number 2, the Blech Roboter, tin robots. Gleaming chrome, clicking gears, and sparks flying from their eyes, these tin robots were equal parts miracle and menace. Wind one up and it would march across the floor, buzzing with life, the smell of hot metal filling the room. They looked like the future until they shorted out and left scorch marks on the table. Their movements were jerky, their sounds unsettling, but how proud we were to own something that moved. Now kids have digital robots that tell jokes and respond to Wi-Fi. Our robots threaten to burn down the house, and we love them for it. Number 1, the BB gun training rifles. The king of dangerous toys. These weren't imitation, they were steel and wood, and they meant business. We'd sneak into the garden, the smell of oiled metal on our hands, ready for adventure. The sound of the cocking lever was as sacred as the first crack of summer thunder. You could feel the weight, the danger, the excitement, and when you hit a tin can dead center, pure glory. Of course, we also hit windows, lamps, and occasionally one another. But back then, it wasn't called unsafe. It was called growing up. Now you need a license, safety goggles, and a therapist before firing a BB gun. We just had bad aim and good stories. Looking back, it's hard not to smile. We played with fire, metal, and mild explosives, and somehow lived to tell the tale. The 1970s were a different kind of childhood. Scraped knees, burned thumbs, and laughter echoing down the street. Those dangerous toys weren't just entertainment, they were lessons in physics, patience, and humility. They made us fearless, curious, and a bit mad. In the best kind of way. Today, everything is padded, certified, and wrapped in plastic reassurance. But back then, the world smelled of adventure. Smoke, steel, and imagination. Maybe that's what we miss most. Not the danger itself, but the feeling of being alive enough to risk it. So, tell me, which one do you remember most? The sparks, the shocks, or that delicious sense of freedom that no app will ever recreate?